Question I wanted to ask him was, how come that's not on? How long do you have to practice law?
Now, the top of the hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn presents the Green News Report.
It's a priority for the Trump administration to fix our broken regulatory system.
Trump repeals anti-corruption regulation for the fossil fuel industry.
Crews are still cleaning up after a major oil pipeline was struck, spilling oil across a highway in Collin County.
From the folks bringing you the Dakota Access Pipeline, another major spill. Good news for breathers, bad news for coal miners in Arizona. U.S. emissions still declining, plus
these are really badly contaminated.
Scientists discover man-made toxic chemicals in the deepest part of the ocean.
All of those disturbing discoveries and more straight ahead. From BradBlog.com, I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
Stand by for 6 minutes of independent green news, politics, analysis, and snarky comment.
Better to get your news directly from the president. In fact, it might be the only way to get the unvarnished truth.
Just for the record, that's the chairman of the U.S. House Science Committee. We're screwed. This is your Green News Report. Okay, Desi Doyen, before we get started, I just want to note that we are now heading into our 9th year of the Green News Report. We have been doing this for 8 years. And my thanks to those of you who stopped by bradblog.com/donate to help us continue to connect the climate change dots.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Now, on to the news. A big win on Wednesday for the fossil fuel industry. President Trump signed a repeal of an anti-corruption measure in the Dodd-Frank banking oversight law that would have required U.S. oil companies to disclose to the Securities and Exchange Commission any payments that they make to foreign governments for drilling and mining rights. It was similar to provisions in the EU, created in part to help citizens in developing nations fight government corruption, bribery, and tax evasion. Fast repeal of that anti-corruption provision was a big priority for the fossil fuel industry and Republicans. New U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson personally lobbied against it back when he was ExxonMobil CEO. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer painted the repeal as crucial for small business.
Misguided federal regulations such as the SEC rule inflict real cost on the American people and put our businesses, especially small businesses, at a significant disadvantage.
Because, ExxonMobil is a small business. The Standing Rock Sioux Tribe and Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe this week filed a new court challenge to the Dakota Access Pipeline to overturn the Army Corps of Engineers' sudden approval of a final permit as ordered by the Trump administration. Now, in a story that got buried when it happened, that Trump order, it came just days after yet another major pipeline rupture, this time near Dallas, Texas. Struck by construction equipment, the high-pressure pipeline spilled 600,000 gallons of crude oil. It was the second spill on that new 1-year-old pipeline.
And I want to underscore that. This pipeline began operation in mid-2016. It has already spilled twice, but no need to worry about that same company and their Dakota Access Pipeline. I'm sure it'll all be fine.
Meanwhile, man-made toxic chemicals have contaminated even the deepest reaches of the ocean. According to a new study, tiny shrimp-like animals collected deep in the Pacific Ocean's Mariana Trench, 7 miles below the surface, are heavily contaminated with man-made chemicals like PCBs at levels similar to the most polluted waterways in the world. In an interview with NPR, biologist Alan Jameson said they were shocked at their findings.
Every sample we had contaminants in it at very high or extraordinarily high levels.
PCBs were banned decades ago, but persist in the environment and may have been absorbed by plastic pollution in the ocean that settled to the bottom.
At high levels, 7 miles below the surface of the ocean.
Yep.
Wow.
Good news for breathers in Arizona. The Navajo Generating Station, coal-fired power plant in northern Arizona, one of the biggest polluters in the nation, will close in 2 years, its owners announced this week, because cheap natural gas has made it unprofitable to run. That's bad news, however, for more than 900 coal mine and power plant workers. Tribal environmental activists with the Navajo Nation are pushing their leaders and state officials to develop renewable energy projects to create new jobs.
Like solar energy?
Well, they do have that in Arizona.
There is a little bit of sun out there.
Finally, some good news. Despite a rise in economic and industrial growth in the U.S. annual emissions of greenhouse gases have continued to drop. a little, declining a little more than 2% over 2015, according to the latest data. The EPA says more electric utilities are switching away from coal to cleaner burning natural gas, plus a decrease in electricity demand thanks to energy efficiency and warmer winter temperatures, reducing heating demand. Annual U.S. emissions have declined 11% below 2005 levels.
Well, we'll turn that around soon enough. For much more on all of these stories and the ones we couldn't get to, please check out our website at greennews.bradblog.com. Once again, our thanks to those of you who stopped by bradblog.com/donate to help the Green News Report stay on the air for what will now be our 9th year. Boy, oh boy. Thank you very much, Desi, I think. I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
And this has been your Green News Report.
I'm gonna soak up the sun. I got my 45 on, so I can rock on.
Tremendous!
This has been the Green News Report on the top of the hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
I'm hyperventilating.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Oh my God. It's Friday, you bastards.
You know, girls, it's great to live in a democracy today.
Yeah.
Where freedom is everywhere.
Where?
But girls, we often take this freedom for granted.
Really?
Freedom of speech.
Yes.
Freedom of thought.
Yes.
And freedom of action.
No.
But you know, gals.
What?
Just because a bunch of men signed that Declaration of Independence in 1776 doesn't mean that freedom was for men alone.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. You take Tom Jefferson.
Okay.
Ben Franklin.
You know.
John Hancock.
Adorable.
There's a hell of a guy for you right there. All these men had wives.
Yes.
They probably had a few broads on the side, too.
The right side.
These women wanted freedom just as much as their men did.
Yes.
But gals, I wonder, do we?
Yes.
I think it's time that we women thought about it a bit.
Okay.
Hell, I think it's time we did something about it.
Hell.
So come on, fellow females of the 20th century.
21st.
Be glad that you're an American.
I'm glad.
Proclaim your freedom.
Freedom.
Stand at attention.
Oh.
Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance.
And...
Hey. Breaking news, everybody. Looks like Mr. Comey has just left a meeting on Capitol Hill with lawmakers to discuss Flynn and Russia. Woohoo. I don't know, but there was a story. We tweeted it out at Randi Rhodes. We tweeted it out last night that said that there was a report now that Flynn, when he was interviewed by the FBI, that he lied. That he did not tell them the truth. He told them that he did not talk about sanctions when, of course, Sally Yates, after the fact, reported that he did. And the transcripts clearly show that not only did he talk about sanctions, but it was the main topic. So now Comey goes up to Capitol Hill today. It's always on a Friday. Friday has become a very exciting. It used to be the day where news went to die. Used to be the day where Shabbat took place. Oh, that's right. Jared and Ivanka don't work on Shabbat. I would suggest that you ask Rabbi Shem Tov, who happens to be their rabbi, known to me. Good list, right, Rabbi? It's a good list. Come for Shabbat. Yeah, I would suggest that Rabbi Shem Tov give them a dispensation so that they can work on Fridays, because all this crap happens on Friday when they're not babysitting Daddy. This is like, I don't know, it's some sort of weird acid trip meets The Shining, this presidency. I mean, he should just get on, like today, do you see the Boeing thing? He stayed on script. Yesterday, he was not on script, and everybody was saying, oh my God, wow, and unhinged. So it was like, I used the word trippy, which I don't think I've ever used in my entire life except when talking to Joe Trippy. Okay, I mean, it was like being on acid watching him. It's kind of a combination of, watching the Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey circus meets The Shining. Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's this giant thing, this giant elephant on the stage taking a crap on the truth, and at the same time you expect him to beat down the podium with an axe and say, "Here's Donald." It's so crazy. This is just so nuts. And of course, the fact checkers were working overtime on this press conference with acid. Where to start on the fact checking? I mean, he said more crazy things in one performance than Jack Nicholson said in all The Shining. Every good boy does fine. You know what I mean? Oh, wow. It was just, it was so crazy. So, we just make lists. This is all I can do to keep up with him. That's all we can do. So, he has mocked the disabled, obviously. He has, said black lives don't matter. Blue lives do. He's decided. He hates women. He can grab them and do anything he wants to them. McCain is not the kind of POW that he, McCain is not a good soldier because he's a POW and he likes people that didn't get captured. He gets into a Twitter war with Megyn Kelly. He gets to be president. He does a global ban on Muslims that he says was smooth. It was smooth as silk. This is a fine-tuned machine. This is what he said yesterday, right? It's a fine-tuned machine. Yes, it's a fine-tuned machine, the kind of machine that Dr. Kevorkian had. Like that. Like he's killing democracy with this machine. And then apparently Flynn, a cog in the machine, has slipped and maybe flipped. See, this is now okay. So he has and he said the ban was rolled out so smoothly. Meanwhile, they had to go back and clarify. Oh no. Well, we were the green card holders. We didn't mean to include them. We didn't mean to include them. Let them in. Let them in. Okay, and then they had to go back and they had to say, "Oh, the dual citizens from Canada, we didn't mean to, let them in, let them in." And then the Department of Homeland Security, General Kelly, he has to weigh in. He has to issue clarification to the DHS. Nobody at the airport knows what to do. He blames it on the Delta computers. Oh my God, this man is delusional. Then it gets ruled as unconstitutional by the court. So what does he do? He trashes the judge. First he says the so-called judge, then he trashes the judge. Then yesterday, he says they get overturned more than any other court. That's not true. First of all, the 11th Circuit has been overturned 100% of the time. He was talking about the 9th Circuit. They were overturned last year 80% of the time. But what you have to remember is not all their cases go to the Supreme Court, for God's sake. And if they do go to the Supreme Court, the typical result is the decision of the lower court's overturned. So of course they're overturned by the Supreme Court. That's why it goes to the Supreme Court, because it's a difficult decision and the Supreme Court weighs in on those decisions. But I got to tell you, there are plenty of circuits that get overturned more. There are 4 other circuits that got overturned 100% of the time. The 9th only got overturned 80%. So I would say that they do better than other courts. So that was a lie. Okay. Then we've got the botched Yemen raid. Okay. He had to have one. He had to have a military raid. He wanted that on Inauguration Eve. Okay, they couldn't do it because there was no new moon, meaning the sky was not completely pitch black and it would have endangered our soldiers. Well, he wanted to do it anyway. They said no. They made him wait 9 days and the thing was still botched. Okay, now he's complaining. Oh, well, when they listen in on my calls to Mexico, it's a test. It's a test. And Australia, it's a test. It's a test. I mean, what's going to happen when I talk about North Korea? You talked about North Korea in an open air patio with people with cell phones videotaping the papers in front of you. What is wrong with you? Also, might I remind you that other countries do readouts of your phone calls. America used to do it before you too, as part of the Records Act. But you want everything secret, except Mexico didn't. And so they released the readout. That's how we got the information that Peña Nieto had canceled on you. Oh my God. Okay. And then he goes on with the 3.5 million illegal voters. That, of course, is not true. Not true at all. Sarah Huckabee's on the TV saying, well, in Arkansas, we had this case. Case turns out to be a bogus citation. Doesn't pan out. None of the things she says were true. Okay. Then you've got this white supremacist, a genius bar in the White House that's telling him, keep saying, illegals voted. All that. None of it is true. He gets into a Twitter war with senators, with a sports team owner, with Meryl Streep, with Nordstrom's, with Macy's. Flynn ends up being a liar, lies to the FBI. That's a felony. Then you've got, some acid-induced press conference and conservative columnists writing articles that saying, don't work for Trump because that'll be a deal with the devil and the devil takes payments on the installment plan. You'll be sorry. Then last night, all of a sudden we have Admiral Harward, not Howard, Harward, who says, can't do it, Sally. Can't do it. Can't you cut me a break? No, can't do it, Sally. Can't do it. And, he says no to the president. You don't get a Navy SEAL admiral saying no to the president very often. In fact, I don't think it's ever happened before. They have this thing, this sense of duty, it's called. This sense of if your president calls, you answer. He answered and he said, not home. And there were so many quotes. The Financial Times was the first to report it, and they said, well, of course, it's due to the dysfunctionality of the White House. And then I guess the White House, freaked out and said, you better, amend what you just said. And he said, all right, I'll say it's my family. Works at Lockheed Martin. The president goes to Boeing this morning. What was that? Some kind of a signal? I'm going to screw you, Lockheed, because you screwed me. I mean, it's so disgusting. Everything with him is a grudge match. I just want to curse so bad. And then you've got him not being able to answer questions about anti-Semitism in this press conference. The day before, he had the Israeli news press ask him about, this rise in anti-Semitism. He says, you're going to see a lot of love. I know Jewish people. My daughter is one of them. That is so much like I have black friends. And then... Of course, we played this for you. No, we didn't. We didn't get to it yesterday. Oh, my God. I am hyperventilating. Yesterday, of course, the April Ryan section with the Congressional Black Caucus. She's a reporter, for God's sake. And he says, well, you arranged the meeting. You know them. You're friends with them. I mean, it's like all black people know each other. What was that? And she's just too dignified. She has too much character. She has too much integrity to become the news story. So everyone, including Don Lemon last night, everybody and he trashes Don Lemon. Don Lemon, he's so mild that usually people of the progressive stripe don't like him because he's so fair and he's mild and he has panels with, Trump supporters and Jeffrey Lord and the little blonde girl and all these Trump supporters. They expanded their panels to have like 29 people on them so that you could have 16 Trump supporters, a couple that couldn't pick a side, and 5 people that were pro Hillary. I mean, this is so sick. And then today, the Democrats last night, I don't know if you watched it, but the Democrats last night tried so hard to get a couple of senators to vote no on Scott Pruitt because Scott Pruitt, as the Attorney General for Oklahoma, is suing the EPA. So, of course, Trump put Scott Pruitt up to head the EPA, which would make him the plaintiff in his case. It would also make him now the defendant in his case, and it would make him the judge in his case. And they thought that might represent some sort of a conflict. Okay. And so what did Mitch McConnell do after the whole thing, all these floor speeches last night on the C-SPAN, all these floor speeches, till early in the morning. So, and they boycotted the committee so that they thought maybe, they couldn't get it out of committee. The Democrats wouldn't show up. They didn't have the right amount of people. Of course, what do the Republicans do? Mitch McConnell changes the rules of the Senate, changes the committee rules, puts it out on the floor. And today, you have Scott Pruitt, confirmed as our EPA administrator. So now you've got somebody with 13 lawsuits. 13 of them against the Environmental Protection Agency, now heading up the Environmental Protection Agency. Of course, you've got Donald Trump holding a lease to the old post office building and he's the president now, so he's the landlord and the lessee. And the lease specifically prohibits the person who holds the lease from being in government. So he's in violation of law too. And now you've got Flynn, who apparently lied to the FBI. Now, there was some reporting. It wasn't reporting. It was rumors floating around that Flynn was okay and he had cleared the FBI's threshold for, telling the truth and he was cooperative and blah, blah, blah. That's not that was just a rumor. That was never written. What was written in the Washington Post today was that Flynn said that he never talked sanctions with the Russian ambassador, but of course the transcripts prove him to be a liar. So that's what I mean. The record, you have to. Oh, it's so out like Flynn. I just. Sally Yates tried to explain this to Donald Trump. She tried. She went to his administration and she tried to warn the White House that Flynn was vulnerable to Russian blackmail. She went to the people in the glass house. She told them, don't throw stones. And they threw stones. And now, lying to the FBI, under oath, not under oath, it doesn't matter. You can't lie to the FBI. That's a felony. So now you've got this guy who he's still vouching for. He's a fine man. He's a good man. This is so, it's so chaotic. And he's like, oh no, it's not chaotic. It's smooth. I inherited a mess. You did not inherit a mess. Barack Obama inherited a mess. Barack Obama, when he became president, does anybody remember? Never mind the economy. We had 10% unemployment, as you know. We were losing 800,000 jobs a month every month. The GDP was negative 8%. Negative 8%. It was the worst report since 29. We were facing a Great Depression. By this period in time in Barack Obama's presidency, he passed the stimulus. Wow. Yeah. Truth is just so hard to face, isn't it? Yeah, you'd already passed the stimulus. And we had, troops all over the freaking world. We had troops in Iraq. We had troops in Afghanistan. We had 2 live wars going on. I mean, please give me a break with he inherited a mess. He inherited less than 5% unemployment. There's 5.6 million open jobs in this country for people with the right skills. Okay? He hasn't introduced one single piece of legislation, not one single idea. His executive orders are worth exactly the paper they're written on and not a penny more. What are you talking about? You inherited a mess. You are the most lying, chaotic thing that's ever occupied the Oval. This is just an amazing phenomenon, this ridiculous man.
To speak to Randy, call now, you bastards. 561-270-3844.
Hello.
Randy Rhodes. Air Force.
Buy a stinking podcast. Now that Trump's moved into the White House, I know. You could see he wasted no time. He went to work for his ultra-wealthy pals. He's making fundamental economic changes that are going to affect your money and your retirement. He's chipping away at banking regulations. You know he's going after Dodd-Frank, and that unwinds the fiduciary rule. That's a rule that keeps your money safe from deceptive financial practices. Like I said before, this administration is so awful. They are so greedy. And that's why now, more than ever, is the best time to diversify your retirement portfolio like I did. Gold's low correlation with stocks and bonds can help you in times of uncertainty. Call my friends at ITM Trading. Get a free gold kit. Learn why gold survives every government, every currency, every economic crisis. Call ITM today at 1-888-OWN-GOLD for guidance from their precious metals experts. They've helped thousands of people just like me buy gold and silver coins and bars, and they can help you too. 1-888-OWN-GOLD. Call 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1932. That was the day that working people in the United States said goodbye to one of their great heroes. Florence Kelley was born in 1859. Her father, William D. Kelley, was a U.S. Senator. Senator Kelley was an abolitionist and was concerned about the conditions under which working people toiled. He passed that concern on to his daughter. Florence enjoyed the finest education, studying at Cornell University, the University of Zurich, and the Union College of Law. She became a vocal opponent of child labor and sweatshop conditions. She found camaraderie with like-minded women, including Jane Addams and Ellen Gates Starr at Hull House in Chicago. Kelly soon became an important addition to the work of this famed settlement house. Jane Addams' nephew remembered her as the finest rough-and-tumble fighter for the good life of others that Hull House ever knew. She began to visit local factories around Hull House to document unsafe working conditions and the use of child labor. Based on her careful research, the Illinois legislature passed a law banning children under the age of 14 from working in factories. Florence was named the first ever chief factory inspector in the state of Illinois. From Chicago, she moved on to New York, where she helped to found the National Consumer League. The league supported the fight for the 8-hour workday and was a leader in the fight against sweatshops. Florence was also a founding member of the NAACP. She helped to found the National Child Labor Committee, a group dedicated to ending child labor. In response to their work, in 1912, the U.S. Children's Bureau became part of the federal government. It was the only federal agency at the time run by women. Like what you hear? Check out more at laborhistoryin2.com.
Hi, we're back, and everything is possible again. Isn't it beautiful? Well, if you want to keep it this way, buy a stinking podcast. Oh yes, you have to buy a stinking podcast. And you get that at randyrhodes.com, where we're open all day, all night long. randyrhodes.com. Get your stinking podcast.
Clear for takeoff. Randy Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandyRhodes.com.
I turn on the TV, open the newspapers, and I see stories of chaos. Chaos. Yet it is the exact opposite. This administration is running like a fine-tuned machine.
He's delusional.
Despite the fact that I can't get my cabinet approved. And they're outstanding people. Mike Flynn is a fine person.
Fine.
And I asked for his resignation. He respectfully gave it. He didn't have to do that because what he did wasn't wrong. What he did in terms of the information he saw, what was wrong was the way that other people, including yourselves in this room, were given that information. Because that was classified information. It was given illegally. That's the real problem.
Is it?
I own nothing in Russia. I have no loans in Russia. I don't have any deals in Russia. Russia is fake news. This is fake news put out by the media. We've taken decisive action to keep radical Islamic terrorists out of our country. Though parts of our necessary and constitutional actions were blocked by a judge's, in my opinion, incorrect and unsafe ruling, our administration is working night and day to keep you safe, including reporters safe, and is vigorously defending this lawful order. We're issuing a new executive action next week.
Then you're not defending
that
it.
will comprehensively protect our country. Tax reform is going to happen fairly quickly. We're doing Obamacare. We're in final stages. We should be submitting the initial plan in March, early March, I would say. We've undertaken the most substantial border security measures in a generation to keep our nation and our tax dollars safe, and are now in the process of beginning to build a promised wall on the southern border. And the wall is going to be a great wall. And it's going to be a wall negotiated by me. The price is going to come down just like it has on everything else I've negotiated.
He's delusional. This is a crazy man. This is really a con man. I mean, you know, we can't say he's insane because I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. And even if I was, you can't diagnose from afar. That would put me in the Bill Frist category. Senator Frist, who diagnosed Terry Schiavo from the Senate floor and decided that her brain was fine and that she was, she could see and hear. And turned out after poor Terry Schiavo's family was able to take her off life support, her brain was jelly. So I don't want to be in Bill Frist category, Bill Frist territory. So what I will say is that he is lying. I mean, he's a con man. He's P.T. Barnum. He thinks a sucker is born every minute. He is not, again, he's not getting away with lying to the press. He's not getting away with lying to me. He's not getting away with lying to lucid people. He's lying to his supporters to try to gin them up, to try and get them excited again, to try and get them emotional again, to try and get them agitated again. This is what the president is doing with these, crazy unhinged press conferences of his. He's got confidence, which his base responds to. They respond to a confident dude, but the truth of the matter is that he's displaying confidence as a confidence man does. He's conning them. We're not falling for it. The media, there's 30 pages of fact checking today. PolitiFact's got 10 pages. Washington Post has 7 pages. New York Times has 7 pages. It's all been fact checked, and none of what he said, for the most part, is true. Almost every claim he made, from that he inherited a mess to he's building a wall, there is no legislation on the wall. There's nothing. There's not one piece. He's keeping you safe. Can I tell you, his national security administration, there's no one there. He has no one as the national security advisor. That's number one. Number two, he hasn't had one single meeting of the National Security Council. Not one single meeting. Do you know how dangerous that is? Keeping us safe. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? You had to fire your national security advisor, and the man that you said, he said, well, I had confidence to fire Flynn because I have this other guy in mind. That was Admiral Harward. And he said no. So now, they're down to like Petraeus. Now, Petraeus couldn't get a security clearance if he had to because he pleaded guilty. It was a misdemeanor, but it had to do with giving classified information to his mistress. And in a plea deal, he was facing felony charges, and he pled guilty in a plea agreement. So how in the hell does Petraeus get a security clearance? It makes no sense, anything he says. Nothing he says. I mean, I'll give him this. He puts on a show. He really puts on a show. You don't have elephants anymore because Ringling Brothers, rolled up their tent. So you don't have the elephants taking a giant crap in front of you. But don't worry, because Donald Trump stepped in to fill that empty role, And by the way, the right wing, they're divided. But Rush Limbaugh in particular says Donald Trump is a genius. He's trying to communicate with his base. Hey, fat boy. Can I point out to you that his job is to govern, not to communicate with his base? Where's the governing part? So the only good thing about the next 4 years is they won't last 4 years. They won't. I'm just so, they're very closed mouth up on Capitol Hill. I'm trying to find out from anybody, what was said in the closed door meeting with the Comey about Flynn and Russia. And what materials they have gathered. Now, I will tell you this. I don't know how many people realize this, but I told you the other day that Barack Obama did not leave and do nothing about this Russia briefing. He did get the same briefing that Trump got. You understand that. And the president went, Obama, the president, 44, went first. And then they briefed Trump on the same damn thing. Well, right before Obama left, he relaxed some of the FISA law. He relaxed some of the wiretapping laws, meaning he allowed agencies to share classified information with regard to foreign intercepts, so that the FBI could communicate with the CIA and the DIA and all, and they could share information. Obama did that, I promise you, because he knew after that briefing that there were intercepts of the Trump campaign talking to Russia constantly throughout the campaign. Now, why is that different from, if Flynn lied to the FBI, see in Attica. Unless he's flipped and he's cooperating and they make a plea deal with him like they did with Petraeus. However, However, there is a difference between how you would read the incoming transition team speaking to the Russian ambassador versus how you would read the campaign being in constant contact with Russian intelligence. And the key part of it is the Russian is the campaign part. That was the most shocking newspaper article this week, and I don't know how many people read it, but I'm sure a pretty good chunk of my audience did. It's in the homework section, I believe. Thursday's homework, yesterday's homework should be in there. But it is the most shocking article, and then it's followed up today with this one. Flynn, in FBI interview, denied discussing sanctions with Russian ambassador. Whoops. Oops. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn denied to FBI agents in an interview last month that he had discussed U.S. sanctions against Russia with that country's ambassador to the U.S. before President Trump took office, contradicting the contents of the intercepted communications collected by intelligence agencies. Current and former officials said. Now, any decision to prosecute ultimately lies with Comey. Actually, it ultimately lies with the Attorney General, who is now Jeff Sessions. But Comey was the one that, and he invoked Comey yesterday in his little speech, whatever that thing was yesterday, that press conference. He said, I got my people in place. I got Pompeo. I got Comey. I don't know. We have to wait and see. So I'm trying to figure out what Comey told them. I think Angus King, the independent from Maine, was the only person before he went into the meeting, not to, characterize anything in any order that would jeopardize anything. But before the meeting was held, on his way in, before he'd heard anything, Angus King of Maine said, I think we're going to discuss how to proceed with the investigation. So I kind of took that to mean that there is an investigation. But, here's what he did. He spoke to the Russian ambassador, Sergei Kislyak, following the election and denied for weeks that the December conversation involved sanctions the Obama administration imposed on Russia in response to its purported meddling in the U.S. election. So that's the thing that they're looking at. The lie to the FBI, that's number one. And number two, the constant contact between the campaign. Now, the campaign obviously didn't have executive privilege, because it was just a campaign. And that's why that has a different flavor than the Flynn conversations as the transition. Now, when you hear conservative pundits talk about it, and when you hear Donald Trump yesterday talk about it, he talked about it as if, he said, I didn't ask him to do it. I didn't order him to do it, but I would have ordered him to do it if he wasn't doing it. What the hell does that mean? That's like the leaks are real, but the news is fake. What the hell did that mean? And what are you going to do about the rise in anti-Semitism? You're going to see a lot of love. What the hell did that mean? Nobody knows what he means because he doesn't know what to say. He's just conning everybody by sounding very confident. That's what confidence men do. All right, Chris in Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, Randy.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I love you. I just wanted to let you know that there's going to be a big anti-Trump protest here in Madison, Wisconsin on the 25th. So it's a week from tomorrow.
Okay.
I just wanted to let everybody know and try to get more people out there and make it really big and get on the Capitol.
Are you striking today?
I am. I haven't spent any money, and I really wanted some coffee this morning.
Oh, okay. That's good. I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you let me tell you some other things that are really helpful. All right. Recess starts today, meaning Congress is going home. This is a district work period. So your House members and your senators are coming home, except for some. Some have decided to go abroad to evade their constituents. But you should. But no matter what happens, everybody needs to know that from now until the 26th, which is when your protest is,
Yes.
Congress is in recess, and they're supposed to be in the district working. This is a great time to show up locally. This is a good time to find out if there's a town hall meeting in your district. This is a good time to find out who your member is. You just go to who is my representative, put in your zip code, and they will tell you.
Okay.
All right.
Do my homework. I will.
Good
Thank
girl.
you so much, Randy.
Thank you. And also, if you're in Florida and you're willing, if you're in West Palm, it's about a 3-hour drive, Melbourne tomorrow. I also have in the homework today a warning to be careful because remember Freedom Works? They're back. The Tea Party, they're trying to reorganize the Tea Party. They want showdowns. They want showdowns between people who read newspapers, who are lucid at 12 o'clock in the afternoon versus people who don't read newspapers and are drunk by 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay? They want this confrontation. So the people at Freedom Works, the Tea Party patriots, they're all gearing up. They want this showdown with you guys. So I want you to be extremely careful out there. But if you're going to go, protest in Florida, Melbourne is the place. President's here, West Palm Beach. Well, he's in Palm Beach. And I want you to know he applied for and received permission to build a helipad at Mar-a-Lago. I love to mispronounce it. I do. Mar-a-Lago. Okay, Mar-a-Lago. He got permission to build a helicopter pad at Mar-a-Lago so that he would not have to drive his car from the airport through all of his supporters, right? They're all protesters that line the roads every time he comes home here. He calls them supporters, but they're protesters. And he doesn't want to see them. He doesn't want to smell you. He doesn't want to see you. He doesn't want to hear you. He doesn't want to know you. He doesn't want to touch you. He doesn't want to be anywhere near you. So he got permission to build a helipad. So now what he wants to do is go from the airport and take his little helicopter, like the 1.5 miles that he used to have to drive, but he doesn't want to see your signs. And another big lie that's out there is that you are professional protesters, that your signs are printed at Kinko's, and they're too professional, and they're being translated into Spanish, and that's proof that you are professional protesters. Meanwhile, Freedom Works, who pays people, they're paying protesters. So be very, very careful out there. All right, Paul in Woodinville, Washington. Hi.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, did you see?
Yeah, you're right. It's like watching The Shining on an acid trip, right?
It's like, you know what else would be a good analogy? Did you ever watch The Wizard of Oz to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon?
Oh yeah.
It's that trippy. It is that he's that bizarre.
And I can't get I'll get to the point here. Why I think why it resonates with quite a few people, and I guess as you hear, it's shocking to me to hear people say, "Yeah, it was a great performance." I'm like, "What the hell is? That's bizarre."
It is.
And the why it resonates is it's something you said yesterday, and you kind of alluded to it here today. A lot of people that support this guy are a bunch of opiate-addicted, alcoholic losers who are all pissed off that their buggy whip making job has been outsourced and they can't make $30 an hour doing it anymore, and they're too goddamn lazy to get off their ass and get some kind of training to get into the 21st century and get a job that pays. And like you say, there's jobs all over the West Coast, but people in America are not qualified for them.
I think that's an insult to alcoholic losers.
Well, it really is. But I mean, that's it, because you know the whole thing with you're talking about 52 overdoses in heroin overdoses in
Kentucky,
in Louisville, Kentucky. The whole Rust Belt, the South. I heard a DEA guy by the name of James Peterson was on being interviewed by Rebecca Costa. And this guy was talking, you know where the worst state for heroin, black tar heroin is? North Carolina. The reddest of the red. It's the Rust Belt, the South, and the upper manufacturing Midwest. And why? These were the people I can remember because we graduated the same year. When I was in college, they're going, "Oh, college boy, why don't you join the real world, get a job?" Well, now these are the people who they're so goddamn achy from everything. They got to get on their Vicodin, and then the doctor cut them off from that, and now they go, "Oh, I got to have something, man." So they think they're so moral because they go to church all hungover, and they still think that's okay, you know. And then they go home and shoot up or whatever they need to do to stay because they have a job that basically killed them. and they think that this is what they want. And this is what I don't want. I don't want the Democratic Party to cater to these people. I want the Democratic Party to become the party that says, listen, if you want to better yourself, this is what fully funded state colleges are all about.
Here's the
Go
thing.
get an education.
Right. Here's the thing. That's exactly it. The Democrats are willing to do free public, colleges so that they can get educated. Okay. The Democrats are willing to include rehab in Obamacare. So, they can have their rehab paid for because it's like $40,000 to go to rehab. So that's why a lot of people didn't do it. But it's in Obamacare. They're going to come and tear this thing apart. They will not ever, under Republicans, get free public education, to educate themselves in the tech, to get into the tech world. They will never be able to go to rehab if they dismantle Obamacare. They are on disability. This is what led them down the heroin highway. And that's going to end too. So what are we going to end up with? What are they going to end up with? I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to talk real world scenarios with them. I'm trying to say, I don't blame you for being addicted. I know your doctor did it to you. I understand that heroin is cheaper. I get that you're on disability because you broke your ass for 30 years and you thought you had a pension and they screwed you out of it because that's what they do. But the self-loathing is, the lot in life that they're living leads them to self-loathing, and the self-loathing makes them look for a strong leader. And unless they break that habit, I can't help them.
And blame other people. They still live in their parents' neighborhood, and they want to blame the person of color that lives around the corner where their friend Billy used to live, right?
I don't know. But I can tell you about, that particular cycle of self-loathing. I understand how people get addicted to heroin. I understand what disability is and why people, would rather take the check than work because they do hurt. Their backs hurt, their feet hurt, their legs hurt, they're diabetic. I get the heroin epidemic. I understand why it happened. I would like them to know rehab is available if you have Obamacare, okay? And free public education would have been available if you would have voted with our guys. Yep. I want to help them. The Republican Party has always been the party of corporations. We have always been the party of working people. That's the great divide in the parties.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
You're listening to WIN, Workers Independent News, a diversified media enterprises production. I'm Doug Cunningham. Anti-union legislation has failed to pass in New Hampshire's state assembly. The bill would have prevented workers from deciding to put a requirement to pay union dues in their labor contracts. New Hampshire Professional Firefighters President Bill McQuillan told WMUR-TV Thursday it's a win for New Hampshire families.
We're feeling very good about what happened today, and I think this is a victory for all in the middle class in this state today.
New Hampshire AFL-CIO President Glenn Brackett.
I consider that a victory for working families in New Hampshire.
UAW President Dennis Williams says he's disappointed that South Carolina Boeing workers opted to vote against being represented by a union in the IAM vote this week, and he's really dissatisfied with Boeing over the harsh anti-union campaign in South Carolina.
I am disappointed in Boeing because we represent some Boeing facilities and we have a good relationship. So I will be having conversation with those people who meet with Boeing to tell them our dissatisfaction. And you can't say to me in California that you want to have a partnership in a relationship and then go stab me in Carolina. The relationships like that usually get divorces.
Williams spoke out on a number of different issues Thursday in a wide-ranging discussion with reporters in Detroit. I asked him if he thinks the building trades unions meeting with Trump will divide or weaken the labor movement.
I don't think it divides us. The building trades are after jobs. If Congress would have passed the infrastructure bill a long time ago, they would have been very supportive. I think that's where the building trades fits at. I don't think it's about they're going to go ahead and walk away from the labor movement because they had a meeting with President Trump. They're looking at the interests of their membership when it comes to jobs. I don't believe Sullivan or any of them guys are going to walk away from the labor movement just because Trump invited them to the White House.
Alexander Acosta is Trump's latest Labor Secretary nominee after the spectacular fail of original nominee Andy Puzder. The Fight for 15 workers movement, which opposed Puzder with nationwide demonstrations, says no matter who is Labor Secretary, workers will not back down. Fight for 15 says it won't stop the movement until workers win $15 an hour and a union.
Sponsored by Iron Workers Impact, now reserving spots for this year's groundbreaking conference, welcoming contractors to grow their business by networking and attending world-class breakouts. More on this event in San Diego, happening March 19th through the 22nd, is found online at impact-net.org under Events. Workers Independent News is proud to be heard on The Union Edge, Labor's Talk Radio. Live nationwide weekdays, noon to 3 p.m. at theunionedge.com.
You've been listening to WIN, Workers Independent News. For more information, visit laborradio.org.
The Randi Rhodes Show is brought to you by our partners at ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
All things Randy at randyrhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Oh, and speaking of Washington State, the Washington State Supreme Court just ruled that florists cannot discriminate against gay people. There was a case of a woman. She's just, really kind of a bat crap crazy lady. It was, first of all, let's say congratulations to the couple who were discriminated against. It was Robert Ingersoll and Kurt Fried. They were getting married, and they asked this Arlene's Flowers, a woman named Baronelle Stutzman, who owned Arlene's Flowers, to please provide flowers for their wedding. She refused, citing her religious beliefs. A lower court had already ruled against her and required her to pay them $1,000, but she appealed it to the Supreme Court of Washington State. And the court rejected her arguments and said that we agree with Ingersoll and Fried that, quote, this case is no more about access to flowers than civil rights cases were in the 1960s about access to sandwiches. Take a moment, breathe it in, because, these victories are coming quickly now. I just want you to feel them. I really do. And we're winning. Andy Puzder is not going to be, he's not going to be the labor secretary. Winning.
There's so much winning, I'm getting sick of it.
I told you you would. But she's a little bit, she actually. Let me see something here. I'm trying to scan through this newspaper article now. She said she didn't discriminate because of their sexual orientation. They said, "Oh yes, you did." They rejected her argument that the non-discrimination law infringed on her free speech because flower arrangements are artistic. The court said flowers are not expressive. Not any more than a sandwich is. You have chefs that design, sandwiches, and you have people who take Mother Nature and stick it in a vase and make that look good. But that's not a reason to discriminate. So they said the decision to either provide or refuse to provide flowers for a wedding does not inherently express a message about that wedding. She actually admitted during the court case that providing flowers to a wedding between Muslims would not constitute an endorsement for Islam. Then they asked her, would providing flowers for an atheist couple be an endorsement of atheism? And she said no. And they said, well, then what is your problem? You obviously just wanted to discriminate based on sexual orientation, and this has nothing to do with your religious beliefs, that you can't target one belief because all the laws apply equally to all people. And we agree with Ingersoll and Fried that this case is no more about access to flowers than civil rights cases in the 1960s were about access to sandwiches. Yay. All right, a little good news today. Jason in Simi Valley.
Good afternoon. Well, hello, Randy.
Hi.
I hope you have a good weekend coming up. Now, you mentioned earlier about the town hall that our representatives will be holding over the recess.
Right. Some of them. Yeah.
Not as many as you would like. As a matter of fact, my representative out here in Simi Valley, Representative Steve Knight, has decided that it's too cumbersome to have live town halls.
Oh, is it going to do it by phone?
Where they can oh yes. It's and then apparently you have the wonderful Dana Rohrabacher, who is now saying that the indivisible people are un-American because they're trying to meet with their representatives.
Okay, the indivisible people that he's referring to are congressional staffers.
Well, they set it up. I am joined them myself, and I'm like, I want to talk to this guy face to face because the ACA is helping my life, and I was the person who forwarded it to you this morning, the talking points that the Republicans are going to go out with.
Oh, I wrote you back. Yeah, I wrote you back.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. And basically, these guys are hiding. They're scurrying like rats, and trying to track them down is going to be increasingly hard.
That's okay. That's okay. Go to their local office anyway. Just stand in front of their local office, whether they themselves are there or not. Go to the office. Do it on Periscope or Facebook Live. Post your stuff. Let everybody see that the people are coming. The people are coming. And then he'll see that the people came to his office. Whether he shows up or not, you can now show him what's going on at his office, whether he wants to be there or he doesn't want to be there.
Well, the other tactic that was proposed that I saw today was it is basically invite him to a town hall meeting.
Yes.
Hold the town hall meeting.
Yeah.
Get a cutout if you can afford it. And just say if he doesn't show up and say, well, we're here, the hall's here, you're not.
Yeah.
And we have questions.
Yeah.
And I think that's an effective way. I mean,
I do too.
What I'm more upset about is that these people want to run away. They'll come back when it's election time, I'm sure. I get enough crap in my mailbox from this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, forests have died for his reelection.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. You're right. And this is exactly what we should be doing. You create a town hall meeting and invite him to the town hall meeting, and then when he declines and everybody is there, you film it and you send it and you tweet him and everything else and go, "We're here. Where are you? We have questions." Again, another thing to do is go to his office and Periscope it, or go on Facebook Live and record all the people and say, "We're at your office. Why aren't you?" This is, and the correct verbiage for what this is, this recess, it's a district work recess. He's supposed to be working in the district. That's why they get to not go to work in Congress. They get to go home to work in the district. So you tell him, you're supposed to be here working in the district. Where are you? We're here.
Yes. Well, the other point, a more, shall we say, fun approach is also the missing poster, where Representative, in my case, Steve King, has he gone missing? Should we get milk cartons with him? Like, we're here. Where are you?
That's good.
But the point is, the thing is, they don't want to engage. And when they do, I mean, we've seen YouTube videos. I think you have an audio clip of one where the guy was in the meetings and then he brought up death panels.
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, but I think that's the other thing.
But make sure you have a 77-year-old woman there who says, I'm 77, and you say there are death panels at 74. I'm 77, there was no death panel.
They don't, it is, I've got a question for you and your audience.
We're right up against the break here.
All right, here's the question. Do these people actually believe this?
Yes, but they're literally brainwashed. Do you understand that? They're brainwashed.
All right, have a good weekend, Randy.
Thank you. Yes, we emailed this morning. I'm always available for you. We're open all day, all night long. Buy a stinking podcast. All right, top of the hour. When we come back, we got so much. Oh my God! I guess we should fact check this thing. Maybe I'll do that. Fact check this, and then all your calls. I mean, just go ahead and call. There's one open line. Enjoy.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
I love me some beef jerky. I do. I love beef jerky. People make fun of me, but if you're a jerky lover, you know we're real picky about the jerky. You want big protein, big flavor, big packs, and very little carbs. And that's why my favorite snack is jerky. But you can't get the best stuff at the gas station. You can't even get it at the supermarket. You have to order it online from the best purveyors of jerky I've ever found, Herky Jerky. Herky Jerky is the official snack of the Randi Rhodes Air Force, and it comes in elk, buffalo, beef, and bacon. Oh, yes, bacon. Hot, mild, 14 other incredible flavors, too. And right now, get $6 off your order of $50 or more. And these aren't little 3-ounce frou-frou bags of jerky. These are big, beautiful, nearly 1-pound bags of fresh, delicious, perfectly spiced jerky that bites and chews like homemade jerky should. Go to herkyjerky.com and buy your 12.5 or 2-pound pack and take them with you everywhere. School, work, camping, or just stick the sticks in your bag for quick protein that feels and tastes like heaven. herkyjerky.com.
This is the top of the hour from the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. Instead of commercials, you've got progressive news and interviews right here at the top of the hour.
Hello, Progressive Voices TuneIn listeners. I'm Casey Hobbs.
And I'm Shane Mason, and we're the hosts of Nurse Talk Radio.
Here's what we're talking about this week.
So, Casey, I know we have a busy show today, but I wanted to take a minute to have you sign some orders for me.
What kind of orders? And why do I have to sign them?
Well, they're orders that I think will make a lot of nurses very happy, and patients are going to love them. And if you don't sign them, our country will be in great danger.
Why me? I don't have authority to sign any kind of sweeping orders.
I promise this is going to bring comfort, safety, and prosperity to all who are affected. It's going to be beautiful.
Wow, where have I heard that before? Okay, fine. Give it to me.
The first one is, effective immediately, all hospital CEOs and non-medical management staff will be replaced by nurses and will include a patient's board of advisors. It's going to be nice. You'll like it.
Have our attorneys looked at these?
No.
Has anybody but you looked at these?
No.
Okay, where do I sign?
All right, this one is, effective tomorrow, all big pharma CEOs and executive staff who are suspected of price gouging will be arrested and convicted of racketeering and robbery the day after you sign this. Further, they'll be sentenced to work in the pill production lines for a period of 5 years or more, and they'll receive $3 an hour, which will go towards the cost of their very own incarceration. Now, you're going to like this one. Safe staffing ratios. We're going to have the best safe staffing.
Now, I like this one. I'm into this now. I feel very powerful, important. Give me the next one.
Social Security provides life insurance, disability insurance, and pensions, annuities that you cannot outlive, that will stay with you for the rest of your life.
Every month, 60 million receive Social Security benefits. Nearly 2 out of 3 seniors depend on it for most of their income.
Without it, the poverty rate of our seniors would be 44%.
So when I see and hear that Social Security is going bankrupt, and when I see and hear that it's contributing hugely to the national debt, what am I actually hearing? Are those numbers being cooked in some way? What's going on?
They're not being cooked, but they're being spun. Mm-hmm. This is propaganda. I mean, first of all, Social Security, as I say, has this dedicated revenue that goes into a trust fund, just like a private trust. It's a trust that's held on behalf of American workers. Most of the revenue comes from premiums paid by workers and matched by their employers. Whenever there's a surplus, that money is invested, and so there is investment income is a second source. And in 1983, a decision was made to tax benefits the way that private pensions are taxed, so part of your income tax for income tax purposes, and that money is paid into and dedicated to Social Security. So the biggest source is the premiums, and then about 8% of the revenue comes from the other two sources.
So why is Social Security irreplaceable then, Nancy?
It really is a program that works, and that really only works the best when we all are part of it. And Social Security is so valuable because, as I say, it's basic wage insurance, sponsored by the government, so all of us participate, all of us contribute, and then all of us draw out when one of the insured events occurs. Now, Social Security is extremely conservatively managed and financed. You know, most pension plans project out 10, 20, 30 years. Most countries around the world project out their Social Security 20 or 30 or 40 years. Social Security every year projects out 75 years. When you project out, that's almost as long as the program's been around. When you project out that far, you're occasionally going to show surpluses unintended. You're occasionally going to find unexpected shortfalls. It's nothing to be alarmed about. It's like you have a highway system. You expect that there's going to need upkeep and maintenance. And that's where this myth that it's going bankrupt. So that is just a lie that it contributes anything to the deficit.
Do you know what the Republicans are suggesting to put in place? They want to get rid of Social Security. Do they have a better plan?
They don't have a better plan. They have a different plan. And this has been a plan they've had since 1935. And that is, first of all, for the most part, they believe everybody on their own. So it's, they don't like this idea that we're all in this together.
Yeah, why would you want to think
and
that?
People on Wall Street would love to get some of this money. The other is ideological. Social Security puts a lie to the claim that the private sector always does everything better than the public sector. The private sector has an important role to play, but so does our government, and Social Security is one of those. And the idea is that we all contribute. We're the United States. We're not just individuals. We are collectively together, and this is a program where we all contribute and we all have this level of protection. The Republican Party wants to cut and completely dismantle Social Security and Medicare. So it is very important for people to stay vigilant and involved and let their members know no cuts to Social Security, no cuts to Medicare. Not only can we fully afford Social Security, we can fully afford a much expanded Social Security, and that's what we should be doing.
Check out our show at nursetalksite.com and listen every Saturday and Sunday right here on Progressive Voices.
You've been listening to Top of the Hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. Commercial-free interviews and exclusive progressive news and information at the top of the hour.
Mary had a little man. The fault.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe it. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
I do it really well and all that stuff. I do get good ratings, you have to admit that. I know what's good and bad. I'd be a pretty good reporter. I can handle a bad story better than anybody. The Rasmussen poll just has me through the roof. I'm actually having a very good time. I'm really not a bad person, by the way. I won. But don't forget, that's the way I won. Remember, I used to give you a news conference every time I made a speech, which was like every day. Okay? No, that's how I won. I won with news conference and probably speeches.
Wow.
Put it this way.
Wow. Oh, my God.
It's going to be another great weekend.
Oh, geez. What about governing, sir? What about the governing thing? What about the truth-telling? He just tweeted again. He just tweeted that the failing New York Times and the washed-up Wall Street Journal and all this stuff is, he said it's not that I hate them. It's that the American people hate. Or what did he say? What's the tweet? It was very sick.
The fake news media failing New York Times, NBC, ABC, CBS, and CNN is not my enemy. It is the enemy of the American people.
Only he tells the truth. Everybody else is lying. When you think the whole world is crazy and you're the only sane one, that's kind of a telltale sign now, isn't it? That something is not exactly, clear in your world. This is exactly the tack he's taking is everybody's lying to you except for me. I'm the only one. It's only me. You can't trust anybody but me. Have you? Is that the most authoritarian thing that you've ever heard? And I'm being kind here because either you call it authoritarian and demagogic, and cult-like, or you have to go into the insanity arena. And of course, we're not qualified to diagnose, which is what we said at the top of the show. But I will tell you that there are some Democrats openly questioning President Trump's mental health. That is true. Earl Blumenauer, he's from Oregon. In a floor speech this week, he called for a review of the Constitution's procedures for removing a president. He said the 25th Amendment of the Constitution falls short, because when it comes to mental or emotional fitness for office. You know, Al Franken was on CNN State of the Union last weekend. He was also on Bill Maher. He's trying to, joke around about it, but he said that a few Republican colleagues have expressed concern to him about Trump's mental health. Representative Ted Lieu in California, he plans to introduce legislation that would require the presence of a psychiatrist or psychologist in the White House. Blumenauer talked to The Hill, which is, the magazine of Capitol Hill. He said he started taking another look at the 25th Amendment because Trump had casually repeated easily disproven claims, such as stating it wasn't raining during his speech on Inauguration Day when clearly it was. Now, this is like some really old bad joke. You say, well, if I told you the sky, when you were a little kid and your parents said, if someone told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it? Or if I told you the sky wasn't blue, would you say it wasn't blue? Or if I said it wasn't raining and it was raining, would you believe me? I mean, this is like basic how you teach a child to spot a liar. Well, the man lied about rain. He said it's not normal behavior. I don't know anybody in a position of responsibility that doesn't know if they're being rained on. He said, and nobody I work with serially offers up verifiably false statements on an ongoing basis. He said it's divisive, and the bottom line is if Trump doesn't succeed, we all fail. So, I'm sorry, that was a Republican, of course. That was Scott DeJarlis from Tennessee. Well, it's divisive. Bottom line is if Trump doesn't succeed, we all fail. It's time to give the guy a chance. We gave him a chance. We gave him a month. How many people, go to work and you get a month, right? You get a 30-day review. We're there. It's not working out. You're not going to get the health insurance plan. You're not getting the benefits. In fact, please leave. 30-day review. We gave him a chance, DeJarlis. Duncan Hunter. Why is he still serving? Why is Duncan Hunter still serving California? And Mike Simpson from Idaho. They both started laughing when they were told some Democratic colleagues were questioning Trump's mental health. I'm sorry, but this man was so debunked so roundly and soundly by Pulitzer Prize-winning PolitiFact, the fact checkers of note, also the factcheck.org. Also, let me just go through some of them with you. He's praised the administration's implementation of the anti-terrorism executive order, blamed it on the Ninth Circuit. Okay. He said the rollout was perfect. Do I need to debunk that? I don't think I do. The rollout was so not perfect that you actually had January 28th, green card holders from the affected 7 countries would need a waiver to enter the country. A day later, Homeland Security John Kelly had to issue a statement confirming that green card holders would be allowed into the U.S., but on a case-by-case basis. All right, 3 days later, they issued another update. February 1st, green card holders would not need a waiver. They no longer need a waiver because if they are legal permanent residents, they won't need it anymore, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said at the February 1st briefing. Then it was unclear how the order affected dual citizens. The confusion for dual citizenship Canadians who held citizenship in one of the banned countries. The Toronto Star reported that the Trump administration informed Canada on January 28th that dual citizenship holders traveling from Canada would not be affected by the order. And the word from the National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, relayed to the media by Canada's Washington embassy, ended a day of complete turmoil and confusion over the vaguely worded Trump policy that ensnared tens of thousands of Canadian citizens, abandoning 150 years of border tradition. The Star wrote. On February 3rd, a week after he signed the order, U.S. Customs and Border Protection issued another statement to clarify, quote, "This is to clarify the classes of aliens affected by the 90-day temporary pause on travel." It also had to provide an FAQ page to answer more than 24 questions that everyone at the border had about these orders, from DHS to Customs and Border. He said only 109 people were detained and held for questioning. 60,000 people were affected by the travel ban. The United Nations estimated 20,000 refugees would be affected by the 120-day suspension. All right. Then he said it was all because the Ninth Circuit, the most overturned circuit in the country. That's false. The most recent year we have is 2015. The Ninth Circuit had a reversal rate of 80%, but the 11th Circuit had a reversal of 100%. The year before, the Ninth Circuit had a reversal rate of 63%. 4 other circuits had 100% of their rulings overturned. So that wasn't true. Need I get into the fact that the Supreme Court only takes the cases they want to take, and that would be like lying that everything the Ninth Circuit ever did was overturned? That's the impression he wanted to give. That's what he said, verbatim. It's not true. The Supreme Court takes very few cases, and of the ones it does take, most of them are reversed. However, last year, the Ninth Circuit, 80% reversals. The 11th Circuit, 100% reversed. So that's not true. Then there's this uranium thing. Oh my God, how many times have I seen trolls with the uranium thing? Okay, Hillary Clinton was one of 9 people that had to vote on whether or not uranium, 20% of our uranium, first of all, it can't leave the country physically. You understand that. The Russians wanted to buy production, but it can't leave the country physically. I don't know how many people understand that. And she was one of 9 people, and her alone could never have stopped that deal. Okay? She just couldn't have. So let's move on. His jobs record. He said jobs have already started to surge. Since my election, right, Ford announced it'll abandon its plans to build a new factory in Mexico and will instead invest $700 million in Michigan, creating many jobs. Okay. That was market-based, and those plans were already baked into the cake prior to Trump even becoming the Republican nominee. And it was a result of nobody wants little cars anymore. Ford wants to build electric cars, and they already had a plant here, and they decided not to build the plant in Mexico that was going to make more small cars and instead concentrate on the Michigan plant that makes electric cars. All right. Fiat Chrysler announced it'll invest $1 billion in Ohio and Michigan, creating 2,000 American new jobs. Okay, Fiat and Chrysler announced on January 8th a $1 billion investment in plants in Michigan and Ohio and the addition of 2,000 new American jobs. The company said the investment was part of an ongoing commitment to U.S. manufacturing, which has included commitments to invest more than $9.6 billion in its manufacturing facilities and the creation of 25,000 new jobs to date since 2009. The day after he said these things, Fiat Chrysler CEO Sergio Mancioni told reporters the announced investments were in the works for more than a year and had nothing to do with Trump or his policy ideas. Rather, he said, quote, it's been part of the discussion going back to 2015. We negotiated this with the United Auto Workers. Okay. All right. Let's move on to, there was, Donna Brazile, and she gave the debate questions to Hillary. First of all, there is no evidence that Hillary received those questions. However, there is Donna Brazile saying that she felt that this was the proper thing to do. She can explain it. I can't. But he said nobody ever mentions it. Well, I don't think they mention it anymore because the election has been over for 3 months. But back in October, it was reported everywhere. It was reported everywhere. It was in every newspaper. It was on every cable news channel. It was, there were multiple news reports, all over the place. That's how we all know about it. And then he said that WikiLeaks, he loves WikiLeaks when he was talking about the leaks. The leaks are real, but the news is fake. We don't understand how those two things can, how he can hold those two ideas in his head simultaneously because he is Jack Nicholson in The Shining. But WikiLeaks, you want to talk to, let's talk to Chelsea Manning. I wish Chelsea was out of jail so we could talk to her because Chelsea Manning will tell you that she released hundreds of thousands of classified documents, right? pertaining to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan that it had, that she gave them to WikiLeaks. And she was given 35 years in prison. And of course, Obama commuted her sentence and said she'll be released on May 17th. So I don't know where he gets this idea that WikiLeaks only releases non-classified information. And that's why he felt okay to say he loves WikiLeaks. Because that was his explanation yesterday at the press conference. Well, I can say, you say, Mr. President, you hate leaks, but you praise WikiLeaks. Oh, that's because WikiLeaks only, puts out non-classified information. Really? Fascinating. And then he said about the media. He said to the media, I mean, you people have a lower approval rate than Congress. And then he said, I think that's right. I don't know. No, you don't know. No, you don't know. Congress has a 76% disapproval rating. 76% of us disapprove of Congress and the job that they aren't doing. And this is the Republican Congress, the Republican Senate. 76% of us disapprove of the job they're doing. 59% by a Gallup poll disapprove of Donald Trump. That's almost 60% of this country. And 32% approve of the media, which means 68% disapprove. But Congress has a 76% disapproval. So he's wrong even there. People are just discouraged and disgusted right now with everything that's going on, okay? Anyway, he would have been correct to say that trust in the media is lower than him. Trust in the media is lower than him. Because Trump's approval rating is 41% and the public's trust in media is 32%. I mean, even the simplest things, he couldn't tell the truth. He cannot tell the truth. And, this thing, it started very early in the press conference for me, I have to say. When he said that he had the biggest electoral win since Ronald Reagan. And, all he had to do was Google it when he said it. And the reporters did that. You understand? And then they stood up and they said to him, Mr. President, how can people trust you? You just said that you had the biggest electoral victory. By the way, it wasn't 306, it was 304 electoral votes because 2 of his own electors refused to vote for him when the Electoral College met. So he won it with 304. And they said, how could you say George Bush got 400 and, whatever? And he said, oh, it's just some information someone gave me. You are the President of the United States. You can't just go to Breitbart.com or the Drudge Report and say somebody gave me that and repeat it from the podium again and again and again. You can't say 3 to 5 million people illegally voted from the podium again and again and again when it's been completely debunked. This is the problem with, this is why people question his mental health. I don't. I question his character and his integrity. I know he's a con man. I know why he's lying to his base. He needs them agitated. He needs them aggravated. He needs them activated. They are laying back now because they're a little disgusted with him. But remember, we gave him a chance.
Clear for takeoff. The Randi Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandiRhodes.com.
Hey, Trump is in the White House. Gold. Yes, gold. It really has the opportunity to do super well. That's definitely one good reason to own it. But did you know that there are a lot of benefits to owning gold? When you have gold in your physical possession, it provides safety. It's a hedge against inflation, U.S. dollar turmoil, and presidential instability. Gold has so much historical precedence as real money that the central banks that run the global financial system buy gold in staggering quantities year after year. Many financial service providers agree that gold is a great diversification tool for everyone's portfolio. If you want to learn more about the benefits of owning gold, just call my friends at ITM Trading at 1-888-OWN-GOLD. Whether you want to own physical gold in your possession or put some in your IRA, call ITM today at 1-888-OWN-GOLD. ITM specializes in all types of gold and silver coins and bars. Call ITM Trading. Get your free gold kit at 1-888-OWN-GOLD. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
This is Tara Devlin from RepublicanDirtyTricks.com on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. And here's an excerpt from my show, the It Sucks to Be Right Tara Buster. After the election on Facebook, I posted that I was looking forward to a historic day where we had a woman president. And a friend of mine who works in addiction, people know who listen to the show, I am an addict in recovery. And I know this person from the community of recovering people. She's a counselor in the addiction field. She wrote, I didn't vote for either one of them. They're both corrupt. And I said, you remind me of this Bertolt Brecht quote. The worst illiterate is the political illiterate. He doesn't hear, doesn't speak, or participate in political events. He doesn't know the cost of life, the price of the bean, of the fish, of the flour, of the rent, of the shoes, and of the medicine. All depends on political decisions. Of course, she didn't really like that and posted, well, you remind me of George Carlin, who says they're all crooks. And she posted this video. I'm well aware of George Carlin, but next time an addict seeking recovery comes into your office and can't get health care because Republicans have cut his lifeline, you can play that George Carlin quote for him and tell him, oh, well, everything's corrupt. What are you going to do? In the meantime, we have to live. We don't get to tap out. We have to participate. This is Tara Devlin from RepublicanDirtyTricks.com. That was a clip from my show, the It Sucks to Be Right Tara Buster, recorded live Saturday 6 p.m. Eastern at FYINation.com, replayed Sunday 7 p.m. Eastern on Progressive Voices, or anytime on demand on the Progressive Voices app. We stick together, we win.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
I put it out before the American people. Got 306 electoral college votes. I wasn't supposed to get 222. They said there's no way to get 222. 230 is impossible. 270, which you need, that was laughable. We got 306. Came out and voted like they've never seen before. So that's the way it goes. I guess it was the biggest electoral college win since Ronald Reagan.
Mr. President.
You okay?
You said, I am just want to get on the table. Very simply, you said today that you had the biggest electoral margin since Ronald Reagan with 304 or 306 electoral votes. In fact, President Obama got 365 in 2008.
Well, I'm talking about Republicans.
President Obama 332 and George H.W. Bush 426 when he won as president. So why should Americans trust?
Well, no, I was given that information. I don't know. I was just given. We had a very, very big margin.
I guess my question is, why should Americans trust you when you accuse the information they receive of being fake when you're providing information that's...
Well, I don't know. I was given that information. I've seen that information around, but it was a very substantial victory. Do you agree with that?
You're the president.
Okay, thank you.
You're the president. All right. Yuki in Coconut Creek, Florida.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, Yuki.
Hi. I haven't talked to you in a while, but I just wanted to let you know that I had a customer today that was very upset because I was getting President's Day off, being a mail lady, and I don't deserve 11 days of holidays throughout the year. And I told him, well, Trump's going to fix all that for you. Don't worry. I said, with the new health care law, I said, you can save for your own health care now.
Yeah.
Is what I told him.
Yeah.
That I had heard bits and pieces about the savings account and that all these people that need these hip surgeries and shoulder surgeries, well, you come up with the money.
Yeah, you have to save it up.
Yep. We're going to. So I said, your Medicare's not going to be cut, buddy. I says, what are you, 77? I says, when you're pissed off, I'm getting a day off. I says, I'm so happy for you. I says, you enjoy Trump, because he actually told me he voted for Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be like your little Christmas club that we used to have. You get your paycheck and you put a couple of bucks aside, and then when you need a hip replacement for $300,000, of course you'll have that much.
Well, of course, And the other thing I wanted to bring up too was, I don't know if you had read it. It was a Matt Taibbi. It was in the Rolling Stone.
Oh yeah,
about how Trump has, I guess he's going towards deregulating the banks again.
Yes, it's right here actually. It's called the Great American Bubble Machine.
Okay, would you inform us a little bit about that, and I'll let your next caller come.
Oh, it's a
love
really.
You, Randy.
I love you too, Yuki. It's really, really long. It's just an amazing article, but it's about 20 pages long, and basically, it talks about. That Goldman Sachs is everywhere, and that they are the most powerful investment bank, and they are a great vampire squid wrapped around the face of humanity, relentlessly jamming its blood funnel into anything that smells like money. And he talks about the history of the financial crisis in 2008, and that it should, serve you as a history of the rapid decline and the fall of the of Americans who've been swindled by this empire, and that Trump has put into his cabinet a who's who of Goldman Sachs, the people that did it to you. So, it's a fabulous article. He's got another one out, too, that I have in the homework section. I mean, you can't beat Rolling Stone. You can't. Matt Taibbi is a genius. And, you've got some great reporters out there. You got your Kurt Eichenwalds. You've got your Matt Taibbis. You've got your Jim Sciuttos, your Evan Perez's. You've got, your William Cummings. I mean, until you know who these reporters are by name, you don't know anything. Brent in Colorado.
Randy, my goddess.
Yes,
Happy
my
Friday.
supplicant. Happy Friday.
First time, long time. I'm embarrassed to admit.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So I'm calling because I took your advice and I went to see where my congressman is going to be. And I am in Colorado District 4. We have Republican Ken Buck. And Ken is a little afraid to face his constituents. He is hosting a telephone-only town hall.
Yeah, that's the new thing now.
Yes, and I think it's hilarious how scared these people are to face their constituents while they run around convincing everybody, oh, we have a mandate and we're in control of every part of the government, and the Democratic Party's in shambles. And I still have hope because. Me personally, I haven't seen this level of people paying attention to what's going on in my lifetime. I mean, I imagine probably since the 60s.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? I never lived through the 60s, and so now I get to, live through, this tumultuous time. Hopefully it will.
Yeah, me neither.
Hopefully it will all end up with a free concert somewhere upstate New York with really good music. That would be
that
fabulous.
Would be fantastic.
But here's my idea. Here's my idea for you, and anybody whose congressman is phoning it in. I want you to go to their physical office anyway. Your signs should say, with all the people in front of his office, can you hear me now?
Yes, absolutely. And I am planning on making that trip here in a couple weeks. I believe everybody should do that. I think you've got a great idea, and I think everybody should do it. And by the way, everyone, buy a stinking podcast.
Yes,
I
please.
bought a stinking podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Thank you very much.
But, I feel like my hair has been on fire since the Clinton years when Ken Starr, the investigation that went on forever, and the Benghazi investigation, and all these investigations trying to turn up dirt on every Democrat we've had, and, seeing the Facebook posts with the fake news and the racist memes and the altered pictures with Obama with his hand on the wrong side, instead of having it on his heart, and, things like that. It's just ridiculous. And now, ever since Trump's become president, all I see in my Facebook feed is, people posting, reposting The Guardian, reposting BBC News, reposting, Rachel Maddow, and all these people that were on the other side are, can we all just get away from politics for a while?
Oh, really? Oh.
And it just makes me laugh. It's like, are you kidding me? Where did you see what you did the last 8 years?
Yeah, I mean, this presidency is becoming a freak show, and
Yes.
but you can't let it become a sideshow because listen, people are going to get hurt. There's no question, it's going to take time to investigate him. It's going to take time to prove that, he actually knew that his campaign was talking to Russian intelligence the entire time. It's going to take a while here to do this. So people are going to get hurt in the meantime. I mean, you already have immigration services out there. I think the 650 people have been rounded up. You had one woman who was in court. She was actually in a courtroom asking for a restraining order against her abusive boyfriend. She was an illegal immigrant, and she was removed from the courtroom by ICE. The judge said, I have never seen this in my entire life. Today, there's a story going around that there was a draft of an executive order that, is making the rounds. What the executive order seeks to do is deputize the National Guard so that the National Guard can now act as immigration officers, and it's as far north as Oregon and New Orleans and Georgia and places not on the border. They want the governors of the Republican states to call the National Guard to service and allow them to act as immigration officers. This is the deportation force. So, a lot of people are scared right now. A lot of people are hiding in churches. People are going to get hurt. So don't let it become a sideshow.
It's crazy, and I just hope that this level that I'm seeing right now of people actually paying attention continues into the midterms, because we've got to show up for the midterms next time. Not even a question.
Oh, I know.
Every single person has to show up, stand in line, do whatever it takes, because we've got to do our part this time. There's no sleeping at the wheel this time.
Well, I was going to run. I honestly have been thinking about it, really. But then I realized, my representative is Lois Frankel, and she's a Democrat. So today I was actually driving to work. God's going to strike me dead for this, but I was thinking, how old is Lois Frankel? I wonder how many years she has left. Yeah. But I would do it because I'm not on the radio anymore. See, the thing was, you couldn't be on the public airwaves and run for office. But I'm not on the public airwaves anymore. So there you go.
Randy, if you ran, I would come to Florida and I would knock on doors. I would stand on podiums. I would do whatever it takes to help you.
Yeah. All right. There's
just
my
two
first
quick
person.
requests, Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Two very quick requests. Number one, the painting behind you. Could you at some point maybe give us a little backstory on where that came from? I
Which
love that
one?
painting.
Well,
the one of you on the wall.
Oh, me.
I would buy a T-shirt with that painting on it. I
Really?
love that painting so much.
Okay, so that is an artist named Michael Sprouse, Sprouse. He has a gallery in Baltimore, and he does all he does is portraits of women. And in 2008, when I was working in New York, he called up and said that he wanted to do a portrait of me, and that's what he created. So that's what it is.
It's awesome. I love it.
You can Google him. You'll see all his work. His work is beautiful, really, really beautiful, and it's all those bright colors. I love color. So yeah.
Well, second request is I just have to say I love your mother. She needs her own Facebook fan page.
Yeah.
And I just think that you should do a 5-minute weekly phone call with her to talk to her about what she thinks about, the events of the week or something, because I think all
funny.
your listeners just love her.
I called her this morning and her answering machine didn't pick up. She called you. Okay, good. You never know. 87 years old when but I did call her this morning. I was going to ask her to come talk to us today.
Oh, she's awesome. Tell her that we would all love to hear her perspective.
Loretta. Her name's Loretta.
Well, thank you so much, Randy, for everything you do, and for Howard, and for Captain Larry.
Don't forget,
also.
you still want to go to his physical office, Mr. Buck, and you want to get as many people as you can. One of the signs should definitely say, "Can you hear me now?"
Oh, we will. Definitely will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Jim in Malden, Massachusetts.
Randy, happy Friday.
Thank you, you bastard.
Before I get to my main point, I just want to say I love your Friday intro with the bouncer boobies thing. It makes me so happy.
We were debating whether or not to play it today.
But my main point is, do you think that Trump's ignoring all the national security briefings and not paying attention to anything? Do you think he's doing that on purpose so somebody will attack us and he has justification to take us to war or anything like that?
Well,
I'm seeing like this Reichstag fire thing in my head, and it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, it should. Well, there's no doubt in my mind he wants the awesome powers of a wartime president. So
right.
I don't put anything past him. The man lives in fantasy land. He's, he sent this guy Steve Miller out. Remember, Steve Miller said, soon you will see the powers of the president. His
power will not be questioned. That scared the crap out of me.
Well, he said his awesome power will not be questioned.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yes, of course, I think he wants to go to war.
Oh God! Oh, we're in total bizarro land. We're going to be in Florida in a couple of weeks, and my fantasy is to smoke a J with your mom and the Howard and hang out with you guys. I know it never happened, but that's my fantasy.
Howard's not fun when he's, Howard just, he's awake and baked. So what can I tell? But my mother is hysterical when she gets stoned, and she loves to be, but she won't do it if she has to drive or leave her house or anything. So, but she doesn't do it all the time, but she is hysterical. She becomes.
Just that video that you put up when you were asking what she was putting in her purse, I was just losing it.
Oh, that one? Yeah, and then there's another one. If you scroll all the way down, you'll find another one. It has like 12,000 views. It's we were having a fake hurricane, and so she stayed at my house. She didn't have to drive, so we got her good and stoned. And she gets very philosophical. She becomes like the Great Oz, right? She's got thoughts about everything. And I said, Mom, do you believe in God? And she said, I said, I think God might be a woman. And she said, I said something like, I think God might be a woman because the test is how men really treat us, and that decides who gets into heaven. And she said, oh, absolutely not. No, because if God was a woman, our children would never be sent to war. I'll tell you what God is. God is a bitter, divorced man.
I think she's right.
Yeah, and she said that's why he's so angry. So apparently, in my mother's world, God has to get laid. I'm not really. But yeah, she's really unique. She's one of a kind. She's where you go when it gets really bad. She'll cheer you up. She'll make you crack up. She's just.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I called her this morning. I didn't get an answer. I guess she was having her hair done. Oh, wow. Lynette in Dallas, Texas.
Hi, Randy. This is my first time calling. I love the show, and I love you.
Hi. We love you, too.
I just wanted to ask you a question, and this has really been frustrating me, is when the representatives going to do anything about this whole Trump-Russian ordeal? I mean, it seems like they're just so incredibly unpatriotic to not do anything.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Well, Jason Chavez is a partisan hack. That's all he ever was. That's all he ever will be. And it's sad. My mom's on the phone. Oh, good. I will take her. And he's still investigating Hillary Clinton, believe it or not. This morning, there was an article in the newspaper. It said Jason Chavez was looking for a subpoena to get the guy who put the server in Hillary Clinton's basement to come and testify. I mean, they're not.
That's what I heard.
He's like a dog with a bone. He just won't let it go. You've got Flynn, obviously, in a Washington Post, which is the paper of Capitol Hill. Okay, the Washington Post has an article saying that Flynn definitely lied to the FBI. Comey was up on Capitol Hill today, telling them, how he's going to proceed with the investigation. I guess because it was so secret, no one will say what went on in that meeting. And Jason Chaffetz is looking for a subpoena for Hillary's engineer, for her web guy.
I think that's crazy.
Of
course. Do you think that we're going to be able to take back the House in 2008?
Yes. Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. Because I guess that's where the impeachment starts.
Yes, of course.
Every time I look at them, I just get so angry. It's like, do something.
Yeah. Well, it's recess. That's why I'm telling everybody, go to your representative's office, whether they're showing up or not. Okay, and just take a picture of all the people, make a sign that says, we're here, where are you? Or can you hear us now? If they're doing it by telephone or video, make sure that you're there and you put a sign up that says, waiting, no answer. You know what I mean? Just, and you can Facebook Live it, you can Periscope it on Twitter. I mean, there's so many ways to do live video. And they will sit up and freak out because the only thing that makes Congress crazy, scared, is when the people come.
Okay.
All right.
Definitely, Pete Sessions is my representative, and so I know he's not holding any town hall, and I need to look into that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate everything that you do.
And vice versa. Thank you. Bye. Ma.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, wow. Are you loud today? Wow. What phone are you? You're
Whoa, I was out all day today.
I called you this morning and I didn't even get your machine. And I was, I thought if your life alert goes off, I'll come. But it didn't.
Well, I've had a crazy week. Number one.
Ma, you're on the air, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I had no TV.
What?
They Comcast, please. All of this is such garbage. Everything is so out of line. Wherever you go, all you got to do is stand on line. Wherever you go, they tell you it's going to cost you XYZ. Everything is crazy. Just crazy.
Yeah.
And everybody is angry. I don't know if they're angry at the Republicans. I don't know if they're angry at the Democrats. I don't know. They're just angry. Nobody's smiling. Nobody looks happy. Everybody is all miserable, no matter where you go. So I watched Mr. Trump. I can't even call him president.
I know.
I really can't.
I know you can.
Okay? Because it goes against my grain. I watched him for an hour and 15 minutes yesterday. And when he got off, I said, what did he say? What did he say? He says the same thing all the time.
Yeah, he says, I won.
What?
He says, I won.
I won.
Yeah.
And I won big time. And I won more than anyone ever won except Ronald Reagan. And it's not true.
No, it's not true. Nothing he says.
He's living in some kind of paradise in his own head.
Yes, I know.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, the man does not sleep, so he's got to be a little wacky. 3 o'clock in the morning, he's still wandering around in his bathrobe. And now they say he don't have a bathrobe. I don't know. It's crazy.
A bathrobe, yeah, I know. Even the littlest things, the little tiniest things. Like I don't even own a bathrobe, and then there's 80 pictures of him.
That's right.
In a bathrobe.
A bathrobe.
Why would he lie
He's
about
wandering
that?
around in the White House.
But
wait,
why?
hold on 1 second.
Oh, yeah, sure, Ma. But why does he lie about that? Why did he lie about the bathrobe? Why does he lie about something you can Google in 5 minutes and find 80 pictures? Or the fact that, George Bush got 400 some odd electoral votes. He got 304. That takes 2 seconds to fact check. So why does he do it?
Because he doesn't know a lie from the truth.
You think
it's in his crazy head? That's how he hears it. That's how he feels it. He's an egotistical, crazy man. And he's got everybody either wandering around, not knowing what their place is in this dynasty that he has. I mean, I don't understand it. His daughter and his son-in-law winds up on People magazine. How tough life is for them. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, the nannies
How
have
much
nannies.
money does people need for the rest of their life?
Yeah,
How much money?
It is creepy. It's creepy. But I will tell you, you know what's a little frightening now is that the really good people, the very best people, are turning him down because of his dysfunction. And
That's right.
And that means America isn't going to be staffed in the Defense Department, in the intelligence community.
Never mind. Look at the teachers. Look what's going on with the teachers.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, here's a woman who doesn't even know what a public school, the vestibule looks like. Never mind a classroom.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm out of my mind from all of this.
But you're excited. Did you hear about what Oprah did?
No.
Oh, okay. So The guy that was going to be the labor secretary, he owns a bunch of fast food chain. He owns Hardee's and Carl's Jr. and all those fast food chains. And this guy was against raising the minimum wage, and he was against overtime and all this stuff. Turns out he allegedly beat his wife years ago.
Whoa.
Yes, and his wife went on Oprah in 1996. And this tape disappeared. But people knew that it was around somewhere. Oprah went into her vault, found the tape, and sent it to the senators and told them, watch this. And they watched it and they said, I just can't vote for him. Even the Republicans said, okay, we just can't vote for him. So now he's out. So that's good.
When did that happen?
Like Thursday or Wednesday.
I had no.
Yeah, no
I told
TV.
you I had no TV. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
It was a good one, though.
That's terrific.
All right. So my listeners are calling, and you know what they want? They all want to come here and smoke a joint with you.
Oh, I would love that.
I told you.
That would be more fun than I've had in a long time.
All right. Well, listen, what are you doing this weekend?
What am I doing? I'm going to the car dealership because I got a leak in the tire.
Again?
And it keeps getting flat. Yep. That's one thing. I have Wednesday and Thursday, I have doctor appointments. I need certain tests. Okay? And
should I worry?
No.
Okay.
No, I'll tell you when to worry.
All right.
Hey, the fat lady hasn't snuggled yet.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's what I'm doing.
All right. That's not the weekend, but okay.
Why? What are you doing?
Well, no, you're avoiding me. That's fine.
Huh?
Nothing. Do your thing.
All right. Are you busy Saturday afternoon, late afternoon?
You mean after your hair appointment?
And going to the dealership?
I'm going to the home show because for my yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because for my birthday I was supposed to get appliances and I never got them. So now I'm going to drag Howard to the home show and I'm going to show him the appliances that I want.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
I know. I thought.
Go shopping.
All right.
Go shopping. It's the best game in town.
Best medicine.
Is shopping and a joint.
Well, I don't smoke pot, as you know, so I have to.
I know that.
So I have to.
Well, you don't know what you're missing.
I do. I do know what I'm missing. What? It's like I keep telling you, why I'm hungry and tired all the time. So why would I want something that makes me hungrier and more tired? I don't get it.
That's, the models that they're showing on TV.
I'd rather have a beer. It gets my head nice and buzzy, and it fills me up. I think that's a twofer.
All right, that sounds okay too.
Yeah.
Whatever turns you on, whatever makes you feel good. I'm telling you, everybody is walking around with a long face.
Yeah, I know.
So whatever makes you feel good is what you got and what you do.
Well,
and
I love you, Mom.
Everyone,
I gotta go.
all your listeners, that I love them because they love you.
And they love you too, so.
I know they do. That's why I'm telling you to say I love them.
All right. Well, you just did. I love you, Mom.
Okay.
All right.
I love you back.
All right.
Get new appliances.
I will. I'll call you when I tell you what I got.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay.
I love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I'm watching that Mr. President now. Oh, on MSNBC.
Oh, good.
Big fat. Time for him to have a haircut. Goodbye.
Bye. You feel very lucky. She said goodbye. She usually doesn't say goodbye. She usually just hangs up. Right? Right. She never says goodbye. All right. David in Indianapolis.
How are you, Randy?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. You're a fellow scoper. Also, so it's good to see you out these truth bombs.
I can't understand you.
I'm sorry. Maybe I was on a... Does that sound better, Randy?
Yes, but my mother has a better phone than you. Explain that.
I'm in my garage, and it's a terrible signal here.
Oh, it's concrete. That's why, yeah.
I'm going to go inside. But, you're a fellow periscoper. I'm a fellow periscoper, so it's good to see you drop these truth bombs. But I just want to say a couple things about the conference. Two striking things that actually three things that scared the hell out of me. One, the confrontation he had with the black journalist, where he go ahead, Randy.
I was just going to say her name is April Ryan. You should learn her because she's great.
April Ryan is awesome. I've seen her on Roland Martin's show.
Yeah,
she's also does stuff on MSNBC too. She's awesome. She's a veteran. It's amazing for him to make it seem like black people just know other black people.
You all know each other, right? Everybody.
Right. I'm going to call her up. And here's the other crazy thing. Congressman Elijah Cummings came out and showed the letter and said, "Hey, look, we contacted you. You just never followed up."
Well, okay, here's two things. Okay, first of all, there's two ways to look at what happened with April Ryan. It was either very racist, where he said, all you black people know each other, why don't you arrange the meeting? Or the less insulting, less heinous thing, which is still disgusting, is she should behave as if she's his secretary. And she should, call the people and arrange a meeting. She's a reporter. She is not your beck and call girl, okay? So either way, it was just really disgusting. Then he said to her, Elijah Cummings, she said, why don't you get with the CBC? He didn't know what the CBC was, the Congressional Black Caucus. He really didn't know what those letters meant.
He didn't know. That is true. He did not know.
He did not know.
And that's what's shameful.
And she was kind enough to say Congressional Black Caucus so he wouldn't be flailing up there. She saved him. Okay.
She saved him.
Okay. And then he goes and starts complaining that Elijah Cummings was supposed to come up here, and I keep calling him, and he said he was excited, and now I can't get him to come. Two things. Elijah Cummings went on CNN right after that and said, why is he making up a story about me? I still want to go up there. I wasn't going up there to talk to him about his urban plan. I was going up there to talk to him about Obamacare. Okay, that was so. Why would he think that I am the black person he talks to about his urban plan? Anyway, and then the second thing was the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus. They tweet under @official CBC. They tweeted him. I retweeted it last night going, hi there, we're the CBC. We wrote you a letter, but you never answered. It was very funny.
That's correct. And that was the truth bomb that was dropped on MSNBC.
Yeah.
And the second point I want to say, because I know you guys got to get out of here, the second thing I want to talk about is his whole answer about his anti-Semitic voice that he's putting out there. And people don't realize, Randy, correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't it been 5 people now that have been convicted of plotting to blow up Jewish establishments? Am I right or wrong?
I don't know how many have been convicted. I know there were 48 bomb threats made to Jewish centers in the last, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, right? Yeah, and the crazy thing is, every time he's asked about this, remember this happened when he did the interview with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Remember, he was asked and he told the guy, hey, I have 300 and some electoral votes. He didn't even address the issue. People got to think about this. They need to listen to him.
Let me get off the phone. Let me get off the phone with you.
But they just need to pay attention. But they need to pay attention to this, Randy. Hey, can I give a quick shameless plug before I get out of here?
All right.
Or is it, okay, I have a news stream, news you can use with D Nice. I stream Mondays and Fridays. Guys, please follow Randy. If you're not, she is awesome, and she drops truth bombs on the daily. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it.
No, don't go. I didn't understand what your handle is.
Oh, yes. My handle is primetime 7 p.m. 09. That's my Twitter handle.
Time 7 p.m. Primetime
09.
09. Why is it so? It's so wordy.
You know what? I used to be a professional wrestler, and my wrestling name was Primetime. And I used to say that I would perform my best after 7 o'clock. And that was kind of.
Then just go as prime time, for God's sake. You don't see. It was
taken up.
You don't see. You don't see like Trevor Noah 7 p.m. 08 9 10 1 2 3. I mean, shorten it, make it rememberable.
I will take your advice, Randy, and I will definitely do that.
Okay, thanks.
But please follow me, Randy, because I love you. You're awesome.
I will. I'll follow you right now. I'll do it right as soon as I hang up with you. I'll go on my Twitter and I'll follow you.
You are amazing. Keep doing what you're doing and keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks. I will, and you do the same.
Thank you.
Bye. So it's late now. See, I was going to play the clips of there's 3 clips. They're amazing. The one with Benjamin Netanyahu. The next where he said, they asked him about anti-Semitic 48 synagogues and Jewish centers, bomb threats. And he said, I won. That was creepy. I won. And then yesterday at the press conference, one reporter said, okay, this isn't about your personality or anything. We're not calling you. Nobody in my community, he was obviously an Orthodox Jew. He said, nobody in my community, because he was wearing a yarmulke and he had a beard and a tallis, Orthodox Jew. And he said, has ever called you an anti-Semite? I just want to know what you're going to do about these bomb threats. And he said, you're going to see a lot of love. And then a third person stood up and said the same thing. Again, this has nothing to do with your personality. This is about the anti-Semitism. And he said something about, he said, it's the Democrats that are doing it. Crazy.
Amazing stories of sacrifice and of difficulty and challenge and bravery that so many Americans have chosen to participate in this volunteer army this volunteer military that we have since 2001.
I have to say I can hear the passion in your voice about this, but the Hornet's Nest talks about what war can do to not just a man, a woman as well, but to a human being. And with your experience, can you share some of what you feel war does to the men and women of the American military?
Wow, what an eloquent, profound question. I can certainly try to do that. I think that one of the most amazing sort of lessons in all of this for me in spending the countless hours with these folks that I have in recent years is just sort of the clarity of purpose, the focus on mission, and that mission, as you well know, Leslie, and as so many people do in the country, is truly focused on how to keep this country safe, the people in it safe, and also our folks who are abroad in hundreds and hundreds of bases across the world safe, and trying to sort of do right by what this country stands for. And there is something almost transcendent about the commitment. And I don't want to sound sort of cheesy and romantic about it. I'm very clear-eyed and realistic about the sacrifices that this sort of commitment to country and the protection of it means. But there is something about the commitment that has so much integrity and is really a testament, I think, to some of the best. Or I would say, really is a sort of testament to some of the best Americans that this country produces now. I mean, I'll just say a couple of things. There's fewer than 1% of the American population, as you well know, that served in Iraq and Afghanistan. And really with that in mind, whether it's been what I've chosen to do in my life, or really more importantly, what the Hornet's Nest and these additional films that we as a team are wanting to produce, it really aspires to do one thing, which is trying to tell some of the extraordinary stories of sacrifice and bravery and heroism of the approximately 2.8 million men and women who've served. And I don't know any other analog, Leslie, in sort of American life that quite gets at the multidimensional commitment that these men and women who enlist or become general officers in the military are trying to do. I just can't think of an equivalent. And there's something about the level and the depth and really the width of the commitment. I said to my sister once, she and I were talking about this, and I said, it's one of those things that's actually mind-blowing to me to think about. Security is sort of like oxygen. When you have it, you never think about it. And when you don't have it, it's all you think about. And I told her, I said, one of the things that I've learned is that we have people all over the world who are, for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, committed to protecting the people in this country so that we don't have to live our days and the moments of our lives worrying about whether or not we're going to be safe.
Do you hope that people who watch this, and I certainly will, come away from this rethinking how fast we decide, especially almost in a knee-jerk reaction style, like after post 9/11, or any time ISIS, that many time the reaction by Americans and even sometimes leaders, let's just go bomb the hell out of them. Let's go to war. Let's invade this nation. What can we do on a military level, on a military scale? And do you want people to come away with it from this is what happens and can happen if we make that decision? This is not a decision to be made lightly.
Well, I couldn't agree more with your premise, which is that one would want and hope that both political and military leaders would be inclined to reasonably, thoughtfully, and with great care and caution, deliberate and sort of analyze all of the angles of and have a very honest, searching examination of the options at hand, all of them, including sending our folks into combat, but that